It is exactly 1 p.m. from the nation's capital, Monrovia, in other parts of the country. A pleasant good afternoon and welcome to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. I'm Stephen Compton. First, the headlines. National Elections Commission certificates proposed Liberian Alternative People's Party as full-fledged political party. LAPP National Chairman SM Adat Zunin says the party will field candidates for all elective seats in 2029. Liberia National Police opens investigation into December 17 protest reported destruction of properties, intimidation, and violence. Names stands Chairman Moba Molu, CDC Alvin Wiesett, and Archid Pompon as persons of interest. And also coming up in the news, Supreme Court of Liberia grants former Justice Minister Councillor Musa Dane bail of information in 58.3 for carried diamond case. And there is the Ministry of Mines and Energy to restitute the diamond or its monetary value. And away from Liberia, Nigeria's foreign minister Yusuf Tukat has formally apologized to Burkina Faso for the unauthorized entry of a Nigerian military jet into Burkina Faso airspace, an incident that led to the detention of 11 Nigerian servicemen. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the actual voices of the news makers are all packaged. We're taking a very short break to be right back. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Let's now cross over to Sam Andrews for the Bulletin of News.
The National Election Commission has certificated the proposed Alternative People's Party as full-fledged political party. LAPP accreditation and certification ceremony at the headquarters of the National Elections Commission Thursday brought together several partisans and officials of the party and was graced by NEC commissioners. Speaking during the ceremony, NEC chairperson David Eto Brown Latsanan declared the Liberia Alternative People's Party as a full-fledged political party that have all legal rights to operate as a political institution in Liberia. She said the party, headed by former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Reverend Wisa Blamo, met all requirements. Addressing reporters minutes after the certification, the party's national chairman, SM Adazone, noted that the party is more determined to change what he termed the old narratives of politics in Liberia. Chairman Adazone also disclosed that the Alternative People's Party political leader, Reverend Wisa Blamo, will contest the presidency during the 2029 general and presidential election, noting the party will restore hope and create jobs for the people. According to Adazona, a nationwide tour will be launched in the coming weeks to expand the scope of the party and ensure every county and tribe is reflected in its framework. During the certification ceremony, several partisans of the Liberia Alternative People's Party were seen in jubilant mood. They described the party's accreditation as the beginning of fulfilling the party's agenda. The Liberia National Police has accused protesters of December 17th stand, lead or leave protest of violence, intimidation, and destruction of property. The police said the acts are inconsistent with democratic engagement and would not be tolerated, naming stand chairperson Molba Molu, Avin Wise, and Achipompa as persons of interest. The Supreme Court of Liberia has granted Justice Frank Musa Dane Bill of Information filed before the court after the Ministry of Justice included him as party to the 58.34 carat diamond case value at over 12 million United States dollars. The court December 18 ruling stated the mandate growing out of the judgment of the Supreme Court of Liberia cannot lawfully be enforced against former Justice Musa Dane, who was not personally named or adjudged liable. The court's mandate ordered the Ministry of Mines and Energy to make restitution of the 58.34 carat diamond or its monetary equivalent. The High Court ruling maintained that former Justice Minister Musa Dane is not party to the action out of which the Bill of Information grew, saying that the trial court proceeded improperly in the enforcement of the mandate of the court. In another development, the Supreme Court has finally provided green light to prosecute former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Toye and other public officials for allegedly stealing over 8 million United States dollars from the government during the regime of former President George Weah. According to our judicial correspondent, the High Court on Thursday ruled Article 61 of the Constitution gives personal immunity to only the President of Liberia while serving as President and not any other person serving in the executive branch of government, contrary to Toye and others' claim. Moreover, the court said the statute and the act establishing the National Security Council specify certain persons as beneficiaries and not the defendants in question. Our judicial correspondent said the former finance minister and 4 others' petition for a writ of prohibition was denied and later referred the matter to the lower court to resume jurisdiction. In 2024, Associate Justice Sian Johnson stopped defendant Samuel Toye and others' corruption case at Criminal Court C after defendant Toye and others' lawyer, Councillor Arthur Johnson, filed a petition for a writ of prohibition. The Multi-Sectorial Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse has launched a 5-year national anti-drug action plan in the country. During the launch in Congo Town Thursday, Health Minister Dr. Louis Koto disclosed that the anti-drug action plan has been approved by President Boakai. According to Dr. Louis Koto, each of the sectors have their respective role to play in curbing the importation and abuse of dangerous drugs in Liberia. She explained that the construction of the rehabilitation center, which is currently taking place in Bento, is nearing completion. The country's health minister for the time, the interim administration team, and the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency for the fight in combating drugs. State prosecutor Thursday was placed on the defensive by Defense Legal Counsel Arthur Johnson as state witness Raphael Wilson crumbled under cross-examination in the capital arson trial. Testimony from state witness Raphael Wilson exposed deep cracks in the prosecution explanation against former House Speaker, Councillor Fonati Kofa, and others. Bon County representative for the family has assured citizens of Bon Mines that he is determined to ensure that visible developments are carried out in the area by China Union. Recently, residents of Bon Mines in the district took a bold action by stopping China Union train from exporting iron ore out of the area. The move was intended to draw attention to the long-standing concerns affecting the community. Liberia's ambassador to Senegal, Ali Silla, has commended a pro-female organization, Book for Boys, for its efforts in providing training to young girls in the country. According to him, he has observed that hundreds of young girls have gone through their Go and Lead program, something he said has helped in shaping a lot of young girls in public service. Ambassador Silla made the commendation at programs marking the 7th anniversary of Book for Boys, held in Monrovia on Thursday. Also speaking during the program, the country director of Book for Boys, Mustafa Sherman, appealed to local and international partners for assistance in providing training for young girls in community service in the country. Sherman noted that he intends to expand the program to other counties, but slowdown of donor assistance is hampering efforts to decentralize it. The Press Union of Liberia has distanced itself from the Liberia Broadcast Media Awards organized by a group calling itself Liberia Broadcasters Association. PUL in a statement noted that the organizers lack the mandate and legitimacy to confer awards upon journalists and media institutions in Liberia. According to the union, the authority to recognize excellence in journalism and media rests squarely upon the Press Union of Liberia, noting that it has the legitimate, independent, and credible right for journalists and media institutions. PUL at the same time expressed concern over the attempt by the group. The union sharply condemned the organizers, led by Ricky Jiplo, for introducing a pay voting scheme via Tip Me platform, which effectively commercializes the award process. The National Identification Registry has developed what it called a 5-year strategic plan to provide a clear vision in building a modern, secure, and citizen-centered identification system in Liberia. Andrew Peters, executive director of the registry, said the strategic plan articulates the pillars and objectives, focusing on universal coverage, digital identification, and governance capacity. And the executive director of the National Commission on Higher Education has described research as the best way in resolving the many challenges facing the country. Dr. Cecilia Catsell noted that tier world countries are succeeding in overcoming most of their challenges based on research. Dr. Cassell commended the management team of Tuskegee University and encouraged them to include the exchange of faculty and research. She made the comment during the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Tuskegee University, based in the United States, the Ministries of Education and Agriculture.
We'd like to say many thanks to Sam Andrews for the bulletin of news. It's a regular feature on King's News Broom, 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. We're taking a very short break. We come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Let's not take our first development. The National Elections Commission has officially certificated proposed Liberian Alternative People's Party as full-fledged political party. LAPP accreditation and certification ceremony at the National Election Commission's headquarters Thursday brought together several partisans and officials of the political party and was graced by all NEC commissioners. Speaking during the certification, NEC chairperson Davis Eto Brown Lassanan declared LAPP as a full-fledged political party that will have all legal right to operate in Liberia.
This is to certify that the Liberian Alternative People's Party, LAPP, has fulfilled all of the requirements for the registration as a political party as provided for in Article 79 of the Constitution of Liberia and the NEC guidelines and regulations relating to the formation and registration of political parties to operate within the Republic of Liberia. For so doing, the National Elections Commission hereby declares and accredits the Liberian Alternative People's Party, LAPP, as a duly registered political party all in honor our hands of the Commission on this 18th day of December 8, 2023. Signed, Honorable Josephine Kawude, Commissioner, Honorable Basi Liupanga, Commissioner, Honorable Flo Oslesea, Commissioner, Honorable Councillor Ernestine Morgan, our Commissioner, Honorable Walker A. Dupley, Commissioner, Councillor P.T. Plowry, School Chairperson, and in my own name, David Brown Lansana, Chairperson, National Elections Commission of Liberia.
Also addressing reporters meeting the meetings after the certification, LAPP National Chairperson S.N. Dawa Zonen noted that the party is more determined to change what he described the old narratives of politics in Liberia.
So we bring different things to this process. We are not going to just talk the talk, we are going to work the talk. Talking politics is not the game. We are more strategic. We work behind the scenes, we do our. But the difference between them and us is that glaring reports by international bodies and local bodies, corruption is at the head. So if you want to have a guarantee, look at my track record in the past. Look at people that I've worked with. Look at my political leader, Bishop Blambo. His record will speak that there's a difference when it comes to corruption. Oh yeah, this administration have nothing on him. They cannot go after him. Maybe after now they will say they will send somebody there to pick up him. And we wait on that and we will abide by the law. We will go to the court. But they have not since they came into power. So that's the difference that we bring. And that's the guarantee we give to Liberian people. justice for all, transparency at the end. Anti-graft institution will be established or reinforced, or what we say will be a supported relationship, interactions with other political parties. Obviously, yes.
Do you have it currently? Do you have it currently? Do you have any alignment currently?
Alignment? Which party? We have just today we've been certificated.
Okay.
We don't think of that in the near future. I can guarantee you, LAP is going to be a candidate come 2029, and we send the candidate into all the 103, if possible, 117 if they add the other 14 there. In an economy where you don't even have the money to feed and pay your civil servant, and you don't need to add more seats to legislature, then we see that. But we see candidates in every subdivision of this country.
LAPP National Chairman S.N. Adazonen there speaking. Earlier, you listened to the voice of NEC Chairperson Davis Eto Brown Lassanan. The Multi-Sectorial Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse has officially launched a 5-year national anti-action plan in the country. During the launch in Congo Town Thursday, Health Minister Dr. Louis Okpoto disclosed that the anti-drug action plan has been approved by President Joseph Boakai. According to Dr. Okpoto, each of the sectors has their respective role to play in curbing the importation and abuse of dangerous drugs in Liberia.
This plan runs from 2025 to 2030. It is a landmark policy instrument to develop our response to the growing threat of drugs and substance abuse in this country. Across this country, the impact of drugs and substance abuse is being felt more acutely among our young people, and the consequences include crimes, violence, family breakdowns, school dropouts, unemployment, mental health challenges, and preventable mobility and mortality. In recognition of the urgency of this challenge, the government of Liberia, through the multi-sectorial Steering Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse, has worked collaboratively with ministry and agencies, civil society organizations, treatment providers, and developmental partners to develop this 5-year comprehensive national drug action plan. In this plan, as informed you, has been endorsed by the President of Liberia. As we have heard, the plan provides a clear national framework that will around the 3 pillars: demand reduction, supply reduction, governance, and coordination. Importantly, this action plan defines roles and responsibility. As he said, one entity cannot curtail drug and substance abuse. So you see, Gender Ministry has a role, the DEA has their role, as well as Education Ministry and Justice Ministry. Today's launch therefore marks more than the unveiling of a policy document. It signals the government's collective resolve to move from fragmented efforts to a unified, result-oriented national response. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Liberia, and in my capacity as Minister of Health and the chair of the Multi-Sectorial Steering Committee on Drugs and Substance Abuse, I hereby officially launch and declare operational this national drug action plan.
Liberia's Health Minister Dr. Louis Okpoto there speaking. To this next development, the Ministry of Public Works has officially launched its 5-year strategic plan aimed at enhancing the construction of paved roads throughout the country. Speaking at the launching ceremony in Monrovia on Tuesday, Minister Roland Gillens said about 485 kilometers of roads are expected to be constructed over the next 5 years. According to him, the ministry has completed the construction of 7 kilometers already just under a few months.
We set out to do 485 kilometers of paved road over the next 5 years, but I can see us doing 700 kilometers already. And so that's the raw aggression element I'm talking about. And I'd like to take this time also to say thanks to my team We have a wonderful team there at the Ministry of Public Works. We have a wonderful group of partners that we work with. And we're going to continue to build the partnership. As we reignited our donor meetings, we want to talk to some of the donors that are here to please engage. Those meetings are very critical because we're able to exchange, look at the plans that we're executing, look at your plans and see how that can align with the overall AAID. As has been stated over the years, the Liberia problem to economic growth is because of two major constraints. And those constraints are the lack of energy, sustainable energy, and also access in terms of road network. The government has prioritized these two sectors as key for investment, and that is why the focus is on roads and energy. Here at the Ministry of Public Works, we collaborate with the Liberia Electricity Corporation on all their projects. Whatever support we can give them to create the access to where they may be invested to enhance energy productivity. Vice versa, they also do similar with the Ministry of Public Works to ensure that we're able to create the kind of assets that are required for economic growth and development. We've identified major growth corridors, and those growth corridors are now being developed. And those corridors are the corridor that runs into central Liberia, runs into northern Liberia to Lofa, runs to Denmark, runs to the southeast, the coastal highway, the corridor that runs now to Gowater Side, which will soon be started under a PPP arrangement. Good to know that the government adopted a PPP policy. Now we have a PPP policy which was adopted by cabinet to ensure that the investment in our road sector is not limited only to what we do our multilateral partners. We should also engage private financing. Though private financing may be a little higher in terms of interest rate, repayment period may not be that flexible, but resources are out there. And I'm sure working with the IMF and the World Bank, there's conversation as to how they can give us the kind of latitude to expand the space.
Public Works Minister Roland Gillens there speaking. The National Identification Registry has developed what it called a 5-year strategic plan aimed to provide a clear vision in building a modern, secure, citizen-centered national identification system in the country. That's Andrew Peters, executive director of the registry, said the strategic plan articulate the payload and objectives focused in universal coverage, digital identification modelization, governance, and institutional capacity strengthening, sustainable financing, and partnership. According to the plan, places a citizen at the center of zooming inclusion, data protection, privacy, and trust are the code present about guarding the intervention.
As Liberia continues in its digital transformation journey, a strong and credible national ID system is no longer optional. It is a critical national infrastructure. The 5-year strategic plan we are here to validate is a product of extensive technical analysis, institutional self-assessment, broad shareholder engagement, and reflections of collective experiences, lessons learned, and from year of implementation to the date, in alignment with national development priority, including the arrest agenda for inclusive development, digital governance reform, regional and international best practice in identity management. This strategic plan is set as a clear vision to build a modern, secure, interoperability, and citizen-centered national identity system. It articulates strategic pillars and objectives focused on unified coverage, digital eco-modernization, governance and institutional capacity strengthening, sustainable financing and partnership. Importantly, it places citizens at the center, ensuring inclusion, data protection, privacy, and trust as a core principle guiding our interventions. Today's validation workshop is therefore a critical milestone. It provides an opportunity for you as a key stakeholder and partners to review the proposed strategic direction, interrogate the assumption, test the feasibility of targeted issues, and ensure that the plan is realistic, implementable, responsive, to the needs of Liberians. Your insight and recommendations will strengthen the document and enhance national ownership. I wish to emphasize that this strategic plan is not just intended for an NIR document. It is a national framework that requires strong collaboration across government, ministries, and agencies, sustained political support, active private sector engagement, and continual partnership with our development partners. Effective identification systems flourish on coordination, interoperability, trust, and these can only be achieved through collective actions.
Andrew Peters is the executive director of the National Identification Registry, then speaking. Folks, we have an hour now past the news presentation. This is a reminder you're listening to the Friday, December 19, 2025 edition of King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. Top stories we are closed following. National Elections Commission certificates proposed Liberia Alternative People's Party as full-fledged political party. LAPP National Chairman S.N. Adal Zonan says the party will field candidates for all elective seats in 2029. Liberia National Election, the National Police opens investigation into December 17th protest. Reported destruction of properties, intimidation, and violence. Names STEM's chairman Moba Molu, CDC Arvin Wise, and Archie Pompo as persons of interest. Supreme Court of Liberia grants a former Chief Justice Councilor Musadin bail of information in 58.34 carat diamond case. Dates the Ministry of Mines and Energy restitute the diamond or its equivalent, away from whom Foreign Minister Yusuf Tugat of Nigeria has formally apologized to Burkina Faso for the unauthorized entry of a Nigerian military jet into the Burkina Faso's space, an incident that led to the detention of 11 Nigerian servicemen. We are taking a very short break. To be right back. Welcome back. Continuing with more developments, Liberia's ambassador to Senegal, Ali Sla, has commended a pro-female organization, the Book Before Boys, for its effort in providing training to young girls in the country. According to him, he has observed that hundreds of young girls have gone through their Go and Lead program, something he said has helped in preparing a lot of young girls in the public service. Ambassador Slad made the comment at the program marking the 7th anniversary of the Book Before Boys held in Monrovia on Thursday.
I've been around this organization since at the very beginning, and I've seen the growth and development and the impact Book Before Boys have made in the last 7 years. So I'm glad to be a member of the board of this organization. I'm also glad to see the impact of many of the young women who are demonstrating leadership in the Liberia community. So the last 7 years have been great, and we pray that the next 10 years get greater. Because what Book Before Boys is doing is not just to capacitate the young women, but also to get the young women exposed to so many different leadership in the community. So to see that happening, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I know many of the young women today who, from the first crop to now the 7th and moving to the 8th, I think most of the young women today, some of them are involved in government, some of them are graduates of universities and colleges, and they are making some greater impact in whatsoever they do, the work. So this organization is the bedrock of the fundamental idea. If you educate a girl, you educate a nation. I think this organization simplified that. Because just to focus on girls in whatever ways, especially to mentor them in leadership, to mentor them to be mentees and prodigies, I think it's a wonderful thing. So all of you here, all of the people and the chairperson, so I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to pay my own contribution to this organization and just being member of the board and being around them. And I think this is a good thing.
Also speaking during the program, the country director of the Book Before Boys, Mustafa Sherman, appealed to local and international partners for assistance in providing training for young girls in community service in the country. Sherman noted that he intends to expand the program to other counties, but slow down of donors' assistance is hampering efforts aimed at decentralizing the program.
So I decided almost 7 good years since I graduated from university. I said, let me give my service to humanity. When look in my pocket someday, it can be easy. Sometimes frustration can be very, very more intense. Sometimes disappointment can be on the way. But nevertheless, God is our living God. Believe in yourself, believe in God, and also just be smart person. They say the generation will not learning anything. Sometimes I can knock my chest and say, no, this generation is one of the best generation. If you choose to be best, you'll be best. If you choose not to be best, you will not be best. So that the only thing when they pour you among people, you just need to make a name. Make a name 2 ways. Some people, they're not in class, nobody can ask for them. When some people, their appearance in class, people can know. It can be positive, it can be negative. It can be a noise maker when you're in class, the teacher will teach in a good atmosphere. But when you're in class, one day you'll be talking. You're not doing it to the instructor, but you're doing it to yourself. Because tomorrow, what you learn, it will carry you up there. What you know, it will carry you up there. And what you studied, you master it, it will carry you up there. So please, more especially my girls, more especially we have the program called the Go Girlie. It's a mentorship program. Since we started 2023 up to present, that program is still running. We need to get small support to the U.S. Embassy, the British Embassy. Because of the financial crisis around the world, there's no way, sometimes a challenge. We used to have a program in Kakata City. The students show more concern. In fact, most of the students, sometimes they get dropped. But the children in the rural area, they take the program very serious. And some of them today, they are members of the Chicken Scholars. Now, most of the country, of course, there are other people, the opportunity in most of the is many. But people who that live in the rural area, sometimes the challenge, it can be easy.
The executive director of the National Commission on Higher Education has described research as the best way in resolving the many challenges facing the country. Dr. Cecilia Cassett noted that other third world countries are succeeding in overcoming most of their challenges based on research. The executive director of the National Commission on Higher Education praised the Minister of Education, Dr. Jaso Jalad, for encouraging the Tukiti University to reach a memorandum of understanding with the institutions in Liberia.
This is a great day for Liberia, and I'm happy to be a part of it. At the time, I just took over as the head of higher education, and we are here to sign MOU for higher education. We need you more than ever before. If you look around our higher education institutions, we need to groom our faculty because that's the only way we can get to where we want to be. And research is key in everything that we do. I always like to use Ghana as an example. I always say it's not magic they are performing. Ghanaians are researching into their problems. They are using the information they gather from the people who are living the problems to solve the problems. I think we can get there. So I'm happy that we are here this morning, signing the MOU, and we are also talking about research. That is one way that we can help to solve our problems. If we go after the people who are living the problems to tell us what the problems are, then we can take it from the root to be able to solve the problem. And student exchange, faculty exchange is also good for us. We learn from you, you also learn from us. Because I guess we have some unique things that you also want to learn. So I'm happy that we are signing this MOU at this time, that I will say, well, I was part of it when they signed as the head of the commission. So I'm grateful, welcome, and I pray that we take it from this level and to actual practice, as Dr. Ase has said. He started already, and I want other institutions to join this. We have the private, we have the public. They are also, private institutions are also preparing people for our country. So I pray that we look beyond the public and also look at the private, because they are all preparing Liberian students.
So coming up next very soon is our foreign development, but this development sets the pace. Bon County District 7 representative Foley Family has assured citizens of Bon man that he is determined to ensure that visible developments are carried out in that part of the country. Residents of the Bonman area in Electoral District 7 took bold action by preventing a China Union train from transporting iron ore out of the area. The move, according to the citizen, was intended to draw attention to long-lasting concerns affecting the country. That's the
They have made a commitment, a serious commitment, that they're going to try implement within the first 60 days. They're going to give a progressive report on how they have implemented. As a community, we are more interested in seeing our community to be developed. The fact that they have given us a plan in terms of how they can implement the concession, we can monitor that, we can wait and see, because we have waited for years, and the community has been in dire need of development. So we're going to monitor it. The community people has accepted the 60 days requested for. We work with our colleague at the legislature to enforce it. Some of the issues they have agreed to do is that they inform us they have already contracted the road leading from Bon Mines to Gigiman. Within 45 days, we'll see massive improvement on that road. They're going to redo it and get it to a place where we can start discussing the second phase, which is for alpha pavement. The argument is for them to lay quota from Bon Mines. The next issue is that they're going to do an assessment of the hospital and give us monitoring plan, how they can be able to provide management support to the building there. The community is willing to give that up to them. So there are a lot of things they have committed themselves to do. All we're going to do now, we're going to set a local community with my office.
And now, on the way from home, Nigeria's foreign minister, Yusuf Tugad, has formally apologized to Burkina Faso for the unauthorized entry of a Nigerian military jet into Burkina Faso's airspace, an incident that led to the detention of 11 Nigerian servicemen. Togad's spokesperson told the BBC that the detention personnel had been released and were due to return to Nigeria without saying when. The plane was flying to Portugal when it developed a technical problem and had to land in Burkina Faso, according to the Nigerian Air Force. The unauthorized landing sparked a diplomatic row with the alliance of satellite states made up of Burkina Faso and its neighboring Mali and Niger. Well, this is how we got home on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, reminder of top stories, we closed it for you. National Elections Commission the certificates proposed Liberia Alternative People's Party as full-fledged political party. LAPP National Chairman S.N. Dow Zanin says the party will file a few candidates for all elective seats in 2029. Liberia National Police opens investigation into the December 17 protest reported destruction of properties, intimidation, and violence. Named stands Chairman Moba Molu, CDC Arvin Wilson, and Archie Pompo as persons of interest. Supreme Court of Liberia grants former Chief Justice Councilor Frank Musa Dane bills of information in a 58.34 carat diamond case. Mandates the Ministry of Mines and Energy to restitute the diamond or its military equipment. Away from home, Foreign Minister Yusuf Tugad of Nigeria has formally apologized to the Burkina Faso authority for the unauthorized entry of a Nigerian military jet into Burkina Faso's airspace, an incident that led to the detention of 11 Nigerian servicemen. On this note, we'd like to say many thanks to our reporters and editors for making today's news presentation a success. Many thanks to Sam Andrews, who brought us the news bulletin and started control of the coordinated sound system. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.